Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome back to another edition of Intuitive Angling. Much appreciated you guys checking out today's Mental Monday video. And if you guys aren't familiar with the channel, Mental Mondays is something we do once a week, sort of a departure from the normal videos. Most of the time, doesn't really have much to do with fishing, has to do with a lot of different abstract topics that we just come up with from time to time. And today I've been wanting to do this video for a little bit on gas prices. Simply because, guys, there's a lot of misinformation out there, and there's a lot of misplaced anger amongst bass anglers about why we have rising gas prices. And I just want to set the record straight and clarify and give you guys the reality of the situation. You know, maybe if you don't follow it real close, what's going on. You know, we rely as anglers, we rely heavily on gas and oil, until we have some type of a paradigm shift in technology where we have a different type of energy source. We're all sort of beholding, you know, to gas prices as far as how it affects our fishing. So I know it's frustrating to everybody out there to have high prices. Okay, guys, I'm gonna tell you something right now. You know, whether it hurts your feeling or not, it doesn't really matter because it's true. Presidents have little to nothing to do with the price of gas. I don't care if it's a Republican president or a Democratic president, it doesn't make any difference. If the gas prices are low, if the gas prices are high, presidents don't have hardly anything to do with it. They get blamed for it a lot simply because they're an easy target, but they don't have anything to do with it. There's a ton of other factors that are involved here. What we've had the last 3 or 4 years when we had real low gas prices before is a lot of that was due to COVID, supply and demand. OPEC lowered the price of oil tremendously during COVID to create an artificial demand for it and basically to set the price artificially. And what happened as a result, as we came out of COVID, the demand started increasing. They had problems keeping up with production. And in the same time, the number of barrels of oil that OPEC puts out, you know, on a weekly basis, they're in complete control of that. It's a supply and demand thing, and the price that they set on oil is the main factor that determines the price of oil that we pay for it. On top of that, you've got American oil companies, ExxonMobil, all the other, you know, giants out there. They are making record profits every quarter. They're making all-time record profits right now at the expense of the American consumer. It's price gouging, plain and simple is what it is. They're taking advantage of a lot of the different things that are going on right now. The war in Ukraine has a huge part to do in it. It's disrupted the oil supplies from Russia, destabilized a lot of that particular market, and the oil companies have taken advantage of it, and they are basically screwing the consumers and making these huge record profits. And another problem you have is just a couple weeks ago, there was a bill introduced in Congress to basically stop price gouging that's affecting the American consumers. And the majority of Congress, not the majority, but it didn't pass in Congress. They didn't want to pass a law that made it illegal for oil companies to price gouge. So you can look and see how your particular congressperson voted on that. But that is another reason why, you know, prices haven't been reduced. There's a lot of different factors there. The oil prices and the price of fuel that we are paying right now is nothing compared to what other countries are paying. The price of oil and the price of gasoline is high all over the world. It's not just in the United States. They're paying $10 a gallon for it in Europe right there. So there's a lot of factors that go into that. And a lot of you guys that say, oh, what about our domestic production? Why aren't we drilling here? Guys, the United States oil companies have over 900 leases in the United States that they can drill on, but they choose not to. You know why? Simply because they can keep demand high and they can charge higher prices. So there's another misplaced talking point that people come up with, like, well, we need to drill more. We need to drill more here in this country. They've got 900 leases to drill on and they're not taking advantage of it. So right there is another misplaced talking point. Same with that Keystone Pipeline, another hot button topic. Guys, that Keystone Pipeline, the oil that comes through it, that runs across the United States, causes oil spills and everything. When that oil gets to the Gulf of Mexico, it is exported out of this country. We don't see any of it in there. So it has zero impact on the price of the gas that we pay here. So the point of what I'm talking about is that there is a tremendous amount of propaganda and misinformation put out there by big oil that has got everybody all, messed up as far as what is actually causing this. So the point of the matter is what do we do about this? From a long-term situation. The only way that we are going to get past relying on OPEC and relying on Russia and relying on our own domestic oil production here in the United States, where we are relying on a temporary polluting fossil fuel, the only way that we get past that is by transferring and making that transition over to green energy sources, alternative energy sources. And the problem you have is even though this technology is out there, electric cars or whatever like that, and there's people that, they come back with, reasons why you shouldn't have that. But the problem that you have with that is anytime that legislation is introduced to help subsidize those particular technologies, like we subsidize the big oil, we subsidize big tobacco and then oil in this country. I don't know if you know about that. If we would use those same subsidies into putting into the green energy technologies, we wouldn't be relying upon that. All of these companies out there that cause global conflict because of the oil that they have goes away if we use other type of renewables. But the problem you have is you've got a segment of Congress, you've got a segment of senators and Congress people in this country that are beholden to the big fossil fuel industries because they are major donors to their campaigns. Therefore, they're going to vote against any type of legislation that promotes and subsidizes green energy technology. It's ridiculous. That's absolutely stupid because it not only undermines it undermines our economic security in this country, it undermines our national security interests simply out of greed. You got these oil companies making tens of billions of dollars of profit, record profits every single quarter as a result of that. So they do not want to see the status quo change. So the whole point of what I'm talking about in this video, guys, here on Mental Monday is if you want to get mad at anybody about the price of oil, get mad at big oil. Get mad at the big oil companies in this country. Get mad at your senators and congressmen that voted against penalizing these oil companies for price gouging. That's who you need to get mad at. And it's just a matter of time that we're going to have to make this transition. And just say, okay, I'll just throw one scenario out there. Let's just say that oil doesn't pollute and climate change is not real, which, let's just play this fantasy like that none of this stuff is real. Why would we not want to transition to something that pollutes less and is sustainable and it never runs out? Wind and sun never runs out. The oil that's underneath the ground runs out. Why would we not want to do that, even if nothing else mattered because of it? I just do not understand that way of thinking. But anyway, guys, just a quick video here. I wanted to throw that out because I hear a lot of bass fishermen out there griping and complaining about the price of oil. That's the reality behind it. There's a lot of factors. It's a geopolitical topic. It's not isolated to the United States. There's a tremendous amount of misinformation put out there that is generated by the fossil fuel industry, that is perpetuated by certain media outlets and politicians that are beholden to those. That is the reality of the situation. So if we want to change it, and if we want to empower ourselves to do that, we have got to support green energy technology that makes us not reliant upon any type of country that produces oil or our own domestic production there. So just a few thoughts with that. If I rub some feathers wrong, that's too bad because that's just the reality of the situation, unfortunately. But I just wanted to pass that along. I thought it was a really important topic to talk about. So thanks for tuning in, guys. Much appreciated. Talk to you guys later. See you.